Hello everyone! I wanted to tell you what the main inspiration for the project was before we get started in the main video. So I am in the Cariboo region of British Columbia and it's right at the end of wild rose season. So these are the wild roses, but as you can see, lots of non-petaled roses are there, just the hips are left. But that's just because we're at the last batch of roses, but I caught it right at the end. I just moved back, so I'm very excited to have at least some of the roses out. But I'll collect them for various purposes, but for now we're just taking them as inspiration for my crochet dress. And so this is the Mossy Bank that I'm talking about. The other yarn color I picked was called Mossy Bank, just due to the bank that they're sitting on. As you can see, it's got some moss down there, and these are the roses on the riverbank. And I picked Dusty Rose for the other color just because at the top of the driveway there's lots of dust, and so that gets on the roses and they look quite like the yarn color Dusty Rose. But anyway, they look quite pretty, and I'm so glad that I caught them right before they went away. But we've had quite a bit of rainfall recently, so lots of the petals are a little bit damaged and worn out, but it dried up really fast, so at least they were able to bounce back a little bit. And so I appreciate that. But here we go, just looking at more of the rose bushes, so that's quite nice. But we do have lots of roses on the property. We just caught the last batch of roses, so very excited to start working with them. And this is the inspiration for the crochet dress that I'm going to be making. I'll explain more about that in the main part of the video. But they all have 5 petals and a yellow center, so that's the main part of the project that we'll be considering. And I'm very excited to be able to make a dress inspired by the wild roses. This is the yarn that we'll be using, Dusty Rose and Mossy Bank, as well as some yellow from another project. Hello everyone, my name is Veronica. I'm in the Cariboo region of British Columbia, and I've just graduated as a mechanical engineer from the University of Calgary with an aerospace engineering minor. I've got my ring, I've almost got a job, so I'm excited to start my new life, and I think this is a good way to just record what I'm going to be up to now that school's over and I finally get a little bit of freedom. It's lovely to be back out in nature and away from the school. Lovely to be back in BC. And I came right at the end of wild rose season. I've got some behind me, and I'm wearing my rose dress. Everyone that knows me knows that I love a theme. And so I'm going to crochet a rose dress so that I can also be on better theme, because these aren't wild roses. It's not quite correct. And yeah, so this one will be a little bit more disorganized just because I just moved back, and I'm not planning this out very good because rose season's almost over, so I want to finish this before rose season ends. And but yeah, I can teach you how to make this wild rose dress. It'll be less of a tutorial and more of a follow along if you understand it type situation. But anyway, I did a couple to practice, so I think it looks okay so far, but I might change my mind. I haven't woven in any of the ends yet, but I just did a little bit just to see if I liked the direction that it was going. So this is lovely Ancient Arts yarn. I've got some videos in the intro about why I picked these colors, but so the reason is because the roses at the place I am now grow on the riverbank, and there's lots of moss on the bank as well, so I got some Mossy Bank green from Ancient Arts. I could have picked a color that was more suitable, but I figured since they are on a riverbank with moss, Mossy Bank green was the way to go. As you know, I love a good theme. And then this is called Dusty Rose, and it's one of the rose colors at Ancient Arts, but also tied in is some roses way up at the top of the driveway, and they get lots of dust from the road up there, because the road's paved all the way to the cabin, but there's a dirt road driveway and there's dirt not far up the road, so it's just they do get a bit dusty, so that's where the dusty rose comes from. And then this was a one-of-a-kind color left over from my daisy dress that I made. And I'll show you guys that in a different video, you'll see it. But I crocheted a chain daisy dress, and I thought that was quite fun. And I was wearing that in Stitch in Public Day when I started making these to test out my wild rose dress. But yeah, I'm just gonna try to hurry on this one just because we're caught right at the end of rose season. I want to get as much rose stuff in as I can before they end, but the berries will be coming soon, and so when the berries start coming, that'll be more organized and thought out, but this is just a bit of a rush because of the move. But anyway, I'll show you how to do some of these wild roses that I came up with, and you'll see in the videos what the wild roses look like here. And I just tried to make something that looks somewhat similar. This isn't a pattern that I found online, I just kind of made it up as I went. But it looks okay so far, so I'm going to keep going with it and see if I like it. If you don't, you can always frog it, so that's not a big deal. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our yellow, and I'm going to defill my bowl. But we're going to start off with our middle color here, and so the roses are yellow in the middle. I don't know if you can see them up here, but anyway, there'll be some videos from our moss and our banks that I can show you. But these bushes are usually full of roses, but right now it's right at the end, so we're at the last batch of roses, but still, they're quite pretty. And I collect the petals to make rose petal jam, and I do all sorts of other experiments that I can. We'll see what else I can come up with for them. But anyway, to start off, we're just going to do a slip knot, however you'd like to do that. So we're on the hook now, and then we're going to chain 3, and then go back in to our first chain and slip stitch through to make a little loop. You can do this or a magic ring, whatever you feel like. I just figured chain 3 and slip knot was a little bit stronger for this project, but either way, magic loop, chain 3 and slip stitch, whatever you'd like. And then what we're going to do is we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so that'll be a double crochet and 2 chains. What we're going to do is a double crochet back in to the center of the little ring that we made. And there's our double crochet with 2 chains in between, and then we'll do 2 more chains, another double crochet into our loop here that we made, then another 2 chains, another double crochet into the loop that we made, and another 2 chains, another double crochet into the loop that we made. Now that you have 5 double crochet, including our little chain 3 there, we'll do 2 more chains, and then we will slip stitch into the 3rd chain, like the top of our little fake double crochet there. So that'll be a slip stitch. And then what we made is a center. So what we're going to do is, you can tie it off any way that you'd like. I just chain 1 and then cut it usually. So we are going to cut that. There we go. And so then you've made a little center. Here we go. Little center. So that's good. Good start. As I said, this isn't quite a tutorial, it's more of a follow along if you can, but it's just how I'm going to do these videos, I think. Maybe I'll do some more in-depth ones. I don't have much equipment right now, I just got my camera on a table, so, you know, what can you do? I don't have all the angles yet, but maybe one day. So anyway, we're going to join in some pink, however you wish, into the space of our chain 2 space, we're going to join our pink yarn in. So what I do to join is I just put my hook through the chain 2 space, I wrap the pink around, I pull it through, and then I tie a little knot. So that's how I start my join, but you can join it however you see fit. So yeah, a little join there with a little knot. But anyway, more of a follow along. So then I like to cheat and tuck my tails in as I go. What we're going to do is we're just going to chain, or however you joined. I like to start off my little knot with a chain so at least it's upright. And then in our chain 2 space, we are going to do 1 single crochet, and then we're going to do a half double crochet, and then we're going to do a double crochet, and then we are going to do a treble crochet, and this is US terms, by the way, not UK terms, but you can calculate that just 1 stitch over. This is US terms though. And then we're going to do a double treble crochet as the tip point of our petal, and then we're going to do it all backwards again. So we're going to treble crochet, then we are going to double crochet, and then we're going to half double crochet, and then we're going to single crochet. And so then you've made one nice little petal here. So that looks pretty nice in our chain 2 space. So we're just going to repeat that all in all of the chain 2 spaces. So we have 5 petals, just like the wild roses. Alright, so another single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, treble crochet, double treble crochet, treble crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet. I'm just going to keep on doing that until we have all 5 petals on. So you'll have kind of like a wagon wheel situation where there's 5 spokes and 5 petals in all the chain 2 spaces. And this is a very forgiving pattern, I find, because when they're all grouped together you can't really see if you accidentally made 2 trebles instead of a treble then a double. I find it pretty forgiving. So, but then again, I'm very forgiving with all of my crochet, so it depends how much of a perfectionist you are, I guess. But yeah, I just came up with this on a whim. I know it doesn't look perfect, and I could probably think and make it more perfect, but just wanted something simple to do, just as my first project back in the Caribou region. And I figured I'd just show you what I get up to around here. But yeah, this Wild Rose series is going to be a little bit more disorganized than the rest of them, just because it's almost ending, and I want to get all of this done as fast as possible. But everything else will be a little bit more planned out, and I'll figure out what kind of equipment I need and get better at that as well. So apologize for all the headphone using and all of that. Know that the audio quality isn't the best, but just starting out. I've never done YouTube. I don't really have any social media, but I'd figure this would be kind of a fun thing to start out, just so that I can look back when I'm older. I do so many things in my life and then I forget most of them, so I figured this might be a fun way to record them, so that when I'm older I can look back and see what I was up to right after I graduated. Sometimes I look a little bit angry when I crochet, just because I'm counting, but it's not because I'm actually mad at anything. It just has a frustrating face sometimes. But it's nice. Lots of birds out. You can probably hear some of those if the camera picks them up. Had a couple thunderstorms lately, which seem kind of fun. I always like when it rains hard, but it wrecks the petals of the roses and they fall off. It has to get really hot the next day, otherwise the petals get all wet and they stick to the leaves and then they're no good for eating anymore. But I'm going to show you how I make some rose petal jam, and maybe we'll do some fun things with the jam later on. But anyway, there's one nice wild rose here. So there we go. Got all 5 petals on, looking pretty good. So now we'll add some leaves to it. So again, this is just something that I made up, and it's not perfect, but it's just something that I wanted to do. So you can follow along if you want, but you don't have to. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into this post here. So right there we're going to go in with our crochet hook and kind of crochet the leaves behind the petals. And here, I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're just going to go in through the back, kind of wherever you can, get your hook in. And the lowest point of the rose, we'll just do, I like to slide the yarn through and do a little knot, so that's what I'm doing. So you can see right there is where I decided to do it, but just pick somewhere in the lowest point of the rose petal that's somewhat behind. Just do your best you can, find any spot. Just like Bob Ross, this isn't precise, it's just fun. And if you don't like it, you can always frog it, use the yarn for something else. Never a big deal. But if you need any extra help with it, I can help you out for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3 from there, and then we're going to do 2 treble stitches together. So we're going to do 1 treble and not finish it. And we're going to do a 2nd treble and not finish it. And that's all in the same spot, the same place you put your hook in. And then once we have the double trebles, I mean just the regular trebles, we're going to join them together. And we're going to chain 5, 3, 4, 5, and then you'll have a nice little leaf with some chains on it. Looks pretty good so far, I think. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another leaf in another little back post. So what you're going to do is we're going to do 3 trebles together. So just show you where I put mine, but you just do your best. Find whatever spot you can and make 3 double trebles together. So as you can see in mine, I just put it there. You do the best you can finding your own place to put your trebles. So just do some trebles together. There we go. So that is 2, and then 3, and then together. So now you'll do 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to make another leaf in the same spot as the leaf you're just working on. So right in that post that you went through, we're just going to make a whole nother leaf. So we'll do 3 double trebles together. 1, 2, 3, and then together. So now you have 2 nice little leaves together behind your petals. It'll look a little bit better when you straighten it out. But anyway, we'll chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we will go into our next little back post here, and we will do it again. We'll make another 3 trebles together. 1, 2, 3, and then together, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, another 3, treble together in that same post you're just working on. That way we have 2 kind of spread out leaves. And so this isn't perfectly like a wild rose because they have 5 little leaves on one spoke usually, but just for this ease of joining them together later, this is what I plan to do. And when you take a picture of a wild rose, it's kind of like buried in leaves, so that's okay. You can't usually see it distinguished. We had roses in Chilliwack that I grew, and the leaves were a lot bigger and more defined, but this is kind of more of a bush. So, more like buried in leaves, this is. As you can see, it's more just like a jumbled mess of nice leaves. But anyway, it looks pretty nice. So that's good. Alright, going pretty good. Just going to keep on going along the flower until we have 10 leaves on it, but I'll show you what to do with the very last sad, lonely leaf that we have. We'll make it a buddy right at the end. There we go. 3, 4, 5. Little empty section before we get to our lonely leaf. St. Arts yarn is super nice. The people there are so nice. I went to Stitch Nights and everybody there is so friendly. I would highly recommend going. Such a nice break from all the school stress that I had, and everybody there is so supportive. And you just bring your project and you get a stitch there. It's so much fun. So we'll do 5, chain 5. Alright, and so then we're right here at our last little lonely leaf. And so what you'll do is you'll just go into your lonely leaves post and make another treble 3 together in the lonely leaf post. So use the lonely leaf post, make 3 more treble togethers in there. chain 3 for the last time, and slip stitch it to the top of your leaf, your first little lonely leaf that now has a little buddy. And I chain 1 and cut it off as per usual. And that's it. You can weave in ends however you'd like, but this is how you make a little rose motif. Ta-da! Pretty nice. So what I do is I just join them together by I make another one, and then I chain 1 on the other one and then join it here. I join them here, and then I join them here, and you just work on it like that. So it's just kind of like a little circle, but just join them on the straight edges and you can make a nice little collection of roses. Yeah, so as you can see, I just joined it here and then in the middle, then at the end. Not too bad. So I can let you guys know how that works if you'd like. You can sew them together, whatever you'd like to do with it. But anyway, I'm going to keep working on mine, and hopefully I can show you when it's finished before all the roses go away. We'll see. But it's looking pretty good so far, I think. A lot more roses to do. But our little motif is done. How sweet. There we go. A nice little rose motif. You can join them together any way you want, but I just joined them. So instead of so for here, you'd chain 1 and then slip stitch through into this one, fully done one, and then chain 1 again, and then go back and do your next leaf. So that's just how I do it. But anyway, looks good so far. I might show you how to join them together better in a different video if anybody wants. But this is what I'm up to for now. So all I'm doing is making a rose dress, and then I'll show you how to make some rose jam. And we might do some more fun things with the rose jam later, like make English scones or make rose ice cream, something fun like that. But anyway, we're right at the end of rose season, so I'm just going to try to hurry it up and finish this dress and show you it before I start making the jam, but hopefully you'll be able to see it before the end of rose season. And again, the other ones will be more organized, but this one's just a basic video. Don't have a lot of equipment yet, so just having a nice relaxing time, and I hope that you'll join for future things that I do. I like to hunt, fish, bake, and craft, so there'll be all sorts of types of videos on here. And if I travel anywhere else, I'll show you around there and show you around where I am now. It's quite beautiful. We're right on the river, so it's very nice. We've got all the stuff that we can eat because no pesticides on our own place, so it's very nice. But yeah, lovely to see you all. Lovely to see you all again if you're watching from Ancient Arts or my Crochet Retreats and Gatherings group. Either way, but hopefully you guys have a good day, and I'll come up with something else. See you in the next one. Bye!